Aloha! I'm Eric Anderson, pastor of Church of the Holy Cross, United Church of Christ in Hilo, Hawaii. And here's what I'm thinking. With the third Sunday of Advent approaching, I'm thinking about the first chapter of Luke's Gospel. We're reading the Magnificat, Mary's song. The Latin name comes, unsurprisingly, from the Latin translation, and I just love the sound of it. Magnificat anima mea Dominum, et exultavit spiritus meus. In English, my soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Savior. Mary spoke these words not immediately after learning that she would be the mother of the Messiah, but after a confirmation. She visited her cousin Elizabeth. Elizabeth, who had been thought barren, was also expecting a child. Elizabeth's son would become John the Baptist. Mary's son, of course, would be Jesus. Between the two of them, they would have an enormous influence on the religious history of the world. Mary's song reflects her knowledge of the song of Hannah in 1 Samuel. That reflects as well her own personal piety and devotion, as well as a curiosity about the ancient scriptures. It is not, however, specific to her circumstance. Indeed, the words of Mary could have been spoken by Isaiah or Jeremiah. They could have been spoken by others of the prophets. They could have been spoken by John the Baptist, and indeed, similar words were. Because she spoke of the raising up of the poor and the bringing down of the powerful. She spoke of a radical intervention of God's mercy into the world, which would end the inequities so common in first century life, so common in 21st century life. We should not think of Mary as being young and naive. Young, yes. Naive, no. She was acquainted with the realities of life, the pains and hardships, the difficulties, the oppressions, the occupation of her nation by a foreign power. The promise of Messiah for her meant, at least in part, a release from some of the burdens that afflicted her life, the lives of her family members, the lives of her neighbors. 2,000 years later, oppressions and injustices still afflict the lives of people in so many places in the world. What part can we play to relieve that suffering, to lift up the lowly, and fill the hungry with good things? How can we emulate Mary, who played her part not just in bearing a son, but in raising him the way she did, so that when God's call came many years later, he was able to step forward and say yes? How can we encourage the yeses of the next generation? How can we continue to say yes ourselves to the summons of God? That's what I'm thinking. I'm curious to hear what you're thinking. Send me an email or leave me your thoughts in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from you. From Church of the Holy Cross, UCC in Hilo, Hawaii, that's what I'm thinking.